hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and click the description below to make sure you are on our mailing list, because believe it or not, some of our videos are so controversial that they are shut down by YouTube. Whether it's a YouTube about the 2020 election, whether it's a video talking about the failure of the media to hold accountable all these Democrats who have been election deniers, or whether it's skepticism about the lockdowns and whether or not natural immunity is better than a vaccine. These are the kinds of things that apparently the algorithm people over at YouTube don't like. So make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, and be sure to click on the link below in the description to make sure you're on our mailing list. Okay? Okay. I was watching a Super Bowl game last year, and it was a Citigroup commercial. And a black man was talking about the 1921 Tulsa massacre. That's how he put it. Referring to the riots that took place in that city in 1921, where a thriving area of Tulsa, black, was destroyed. What the commercial didn't say, what we talk about in Uncle Tom 2, is that that area of Tulsa was completely rebuilt within a few years, without one dime of government money. In fact, the term Black Wall Street was not even used until after Tulsa had been rebuilt. What you hear, what you've heard, is that a bunch of white people destroyed Black Wall Street. False. There was a race riot. We're not even sure how many people were killed. But that area was completely rebuilt within less than 5 years. Bigger and better than ever. And then it was referred to as Black Wall Street. And the reason this is important is because the Cliff Notes narrative of the black struggle is blacks were slaves, blacks came out of slavery, blacks were tortured and denied opportunities by racist white people, so black people stagnated. And then there was a civil rights movement. But oh, not really, because America remains systemically racist even though Barack Obama got elected and reelected. That narrative is a lie. That narrative is a fraud. And it's causing us to be at each other's throats. And Uncle Tom 2 talks about that. Go to UncleTom.com and watch Uncle Tom 2 and find out what's happened that's pitted America against America. Watch this.
When you look at these pictures, you get a sense of what black life was like.
Some of them look pretty prosperous.
Divine providence was clearly operating in the lives of black Americans.
Throughout history, black folks were honorable. They had integrity. That's what black people were.
We were never taught that America was bad and that we were not Americans. We were raised to love America.
Protesters topple a statue of Christopher Columbus, and hundreds of statues have been vandalized.
You see people trying to rewrite history.
The American people know these names have to go.
Why is that?
Whenever you have something to be proud of, people have less of a chance of controlling you.
This country is racist from top to bottom, from right to left. And for black people to become a part of that is for them to become, in fact, anti-black and to hate themselves.
There is no country in this world that a black person would rather be. Unless, of course, they grow up in this country.
You broke the contract with for 400 years. We played
Then
your game.
they're fed a lie that is so deceptive.
Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
The reason that that lie exists is power.
There are certain people who are using the Negro in order to establish that power in Washington. And the Negro is just merely a pawn in a game that's bigger than he is.
Is a man named Stokely Carmichael. He was a radical in the 60s. Later on, he moved to Africa, where I believe he still lives. And you heard him say, they've taught black people to hate themselves. Black people don't hate themselves. Black people have higher self-esteem than do whites, and much higher self-esteem than do Asian Americans. It is a lie that black people hate each other, hate themselves. It is absolute lie. And isn't this interesting? We are in an era where race is a less significant factor than ever before. I've talked to you before about this. A poll taken during the 2008 election, when Barack Obama was competing against Hillary for the nomination on the Democratic side, and Mitt Romney, a Mormon, was competing against John McCain, who would have been 72 years old had he become president. And Gallup asked whether you would not vote for somebody who was black. And 5% said they would not vote for somebody black. Gallup asked whether if you would not vote for a female. 11% said they wouldn't vote for a female. Would you not vote for a Mormon, referring to Mitt Romney? 22% said they wouldn't vote for a Mormon. Would you not vote for somebody who would be as old as John McCain would be had John McCain won the presidency and became president that following January? 42% thought he was too old and said they would not vote for somebody that old. So Obama had a lower burden than did these three white politicians who were better known and at least one time arguably better funded. The last time we went through a recession, there were stocks that literally went to zero. Washington Mutual, Lehman Brothers, Chrysler, several blue chip stocks went to little or no value almost overnight. Could that happen again? And if it did, are your savings protected? Why not own something that has never been valued at zero? Gold. Historically, your best hedge against inflation, which is rising like a hockey stick as we speak. The savviest Americans diversify their savings to protect them from downturns in the market, from global instability, and from a failing dollar. Do you? Birch Gold Group helps you hold gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. In fact, if you have a 401k or IRA that's underperforming, just visit LarryForGold.com and you can convert that into an IRA in precious metals right now. Visit LarryForGold.com. Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on diversifying into gold tax-free. Hedge against inflation. Protect your hard-earned money. Get your free info kit by visiting LarryForGold.com. That's LarryForGold.com. Do it today. Here's another trailer.
As image bearers of God, we understand right from wrong. What happens is these ideologies come along and they desire to have different outcomes.
What did Marx hate? He hated God. This is a war against God.
Today, if you ask the average person, do you know what socialism is? Do you know what communism is? They do not know.
Don't spread the rumor throughout the world that Negroes are kept in ignorance because of prejudiced white people and all of that propaganda. That type of propaganda is the brainchild of the communists.
Black people were always ripe for use by the communists because many of us do come from situations of poverty.
I don't give a tinker's damn about a Negro.
If the devil came with red horns and a pitchfork, everybody would run. He's a deceiver. This is a deception. Our enemies are our children and our grandchildren, because they believe in that deceptive lie.
Now, there was a man named Manning Johnson. Manning Johnson became a communist until he realized that the communists, as you might have heard in that other trailer, didn't give, quote, a damn, close quote, about black people. All they wanted to do was to sow dissent. And he renounced communism and began to talk to people about what the commies, as he put it, were up to.
Manning Johnson was an American Negro who loved his country, and he loved it enough that he saw beyond Uncle Tom. A communist of stature within the international conspiracy, Manning Johnson had the strength to renounce communism when he discovered for certain that its purpose was to use the Negro as a device to help commit all Americans of all colors to a slavery far worse than anything the pre-emancipation American Negro had ever experienced. We preserve the speech on this record for posterity, and we present it with malice toward none, but rather with the belief that had its wisdom and sheer logic reached enough Americans at the time the speech was made, the communists never could have succeeded in provoking the violence and insurrection we have unhappily witnessed. Now, Manning Johnson.
Don't spread the rumor throughout the world that Negroes are kept in ignorance because of prejudiced white people and all of that propaganda, because that type of propaganda is the brainchild of the communists. And they want to use the Negro to gain foothold in those parts of the world where the darker races exist. They don't give a tinker's damn about a Negro. There are certain people who are using the Negro in order to establish that power in Washington. And the Negro is just merely a pawn in a game that's bigger than he is.
Uncle Tom, too, is asking Americans to wake up. Don't believe the lie about systemic racism. Recognize who the real enemies are, and they are people who seek to divide us based upon race, based upon class, that have taken the civil rights movement and distorted it from one where people were properly demanding equal rights into where people are now improperly demanding and trying to extract equal results. UncleTom.com, UncleTom.com, you will not regret it. Hope you enjoyed that video. The full show is available to watch right now on Epoch TV. Just click the link in the description below to learn more, because we've got a country to save.